Good. So thanks a lot for coming. It's a real pleasure to have you all here at our CX AI Hype Bubble event here in Zurich. And usually companies tell you all the ins and outs of services and products, what they're doing if they have a conference like this. And they shower you with all the success stories and all the use cases possible. And I'm taking a different approach. I just want to tell you the story behind Capptoo, the story behind how we work and how that might work for you. And so our story actually begins in 2015 when I, at Christmas around then, decided to go solo. I was working for big corporates and in software roles, in consulting roles. I was back then responsible to take these companies to other markets. And I had a good run, but I somehow had to realize that big corporate world doesn't really suit me much. They don't want to change for me, and I'm not so good in changing for them. So I then said, okay, I do my own thing. And between Christmas and New Year then, I wrote that business plan up for a company today called Capptoo. And so that was then in 2020. Give me a second. Here you go. No. Okay, here you go. Yeah, so in that business plan, I never planned to build a company like we have today. You know, this digital marketing agency, I didn't plan to build a software company like we have today, or the Screver feedback platform. And I never envisaged, and you hear this today, that I one day would own a beauty salon. Doesn't make much sense, you know, when you make a business plan. You have one idea and you have to focus there and that you make that fly. So this is how then the company developed, and I don't talk about what we really do, but those three things you need to know in order to understand where I'm coming from, where we're going to today, what you hear about today when you hear today other speakers. So we have this platform called Screver, which is a custom experience, hence CX, AI-driven feedback management platform. And with Screver, we turn feedback into real change, not just numbers in dashboards, into real change where you can act upon and improve business performance. And then we have Capptoo, and Capptoo is creative strategy in action. I'm not saying more than that, but you will then later on find out what I mean by this. And then we have Kiwano. Kiwano we call it applied custom experience, you know, something that you can see, something that you can touch, something you can feel. So today you're going to hear a lot of interesting sessions, but we want you to have fun. You know, sit the sessions you want, skip the ones you don't want. We have a lot of time to network, to co-work, to do your email, or just to hang out. Take it as easy as you want, and we really want you to have a good time. But don't miss the sessions because they're really good. So my name is Christian, as Tanya and Vanessa said before. I'm the founder of Capptoo Group, and I've been around for quite some time. And I don't need to go into the details, but whenever you have questions today or the next few days, please always approach me if I can help in any way. So the idea back then in my business plan was I'm wearing two hats. I'm wearing a marketing hat. I was doing a full-time MBA. That's now, when we graduated, that's probably 18 years ago. And I'm a little bit proud over there, the two gentlemen sitting over there. They're from Germany, from Munich. We all met in Australia at university, sitting in classes, doing our MBA. It was full-time, was really, really hard. But we survived, and we're still here, and thanks a lot for coming today. And then I came back from Australia, and I became the managing director of a Zug-based digital marketing agency. And with that agency, we developed huge e-commerce platforms, Interdiscount and Microspot, and many, many others. So I'm wearing that hat. And likewise, I'm also wearing a finance hat. I was always very interested in finance, you know, I'm a data person, a number person, I wanted to find out how one can earn money at stock exchange. I wanted to find out what keeps the CFO up at night. So in 2009, then I founded my first own company that is called Sincera Asset Management. We were actually the first online asset manager in Switzerland, only with conservative products, with ETFs, negatively correlated if possible, you know, and that company then, it was basically back then for friends and family, and then suddenly we got a little bit famous, we got them suddenly customers that we didn't know. But yeah, that was my first, and company I founded back then. So I was wearing these two hats. And then I thought, okay, I want to leave big corporate, what do I do now? And I thought, okay, why not bringing these two competences together? Because I was sure, and I still am, and it has been proven now, that the modern CFO, they know what marketing is. And they're not just accountants anymore, they know what sales is, what marketing is, And likewise, the modern marketeer, he knows what a balance sheet is. He knows that he cannot just spend all the money the company has. They really have to be cautious about this. And also salespeople, they know today what the finance function is. That was my hypothesis. And I was desperate to prove that I'm right. So I created a business plan, and then I met Tanya that week. And Tanya, I recruited her in the previous company in around 2014, and we became immediately a dream team back then already. So 2 years later, after I had my business plan, I called her. She came to Pfeffikon, and I sat her down and said, Tanya, you're going to either quit your job today, or I'm going to fire you. And she said, okay, what are we doing? And that was it. That was then the start of our company. And since then, and then afterwards, since I'm a strong believer in planning, for me, planning is absolutely paramount. We planned for 15 months. And we wanted to plan for 3 months or 4 months and then terminate our contracts, but we didn't want to leave anything to chance because we know the statistics. Startups company, they don't per definition, they don't survive. So you have to be really good in what you're doing. So the better you plan, I guess the more likely the outcome is going to be positive. So we planned for 15 months, and then we went live. We assembled chairs and our own tables in Zurich. We bought Chromebooks back then. We didn't have money to buy Macs and so on. We had a 400 Swiss franc Chromebook, or 2 of them actually. So it's crazy to think that that's how we started. And then, because of my background in digital marketing and search engine optimization back then, I knew that indexing our website is important. So we indexed that very well, and then we got an inbound to info@capptoo.com from Zweifel Chips. And that was for us, okay. We went there, and there was a CFO, went to the CFO office, and then we had one meeting, one phone call, and then we had the first big company, the first big project, and it was CFO consulting. It was analyzing all the budgeting processes, financial processes, reporting processes, and optimizing them, and then evaluating a software to implement that software so they can go away from Excel sheets to an automated process. So tick the box, Zweifel became our lighthouse customer, and of course, if you can work for Zweifel, it's pretty okay. That you have a lot of credibility already. And the same month or two, we got another one of these inbounds from an insurance company, Assepro. It's one of the largest insurance companies in Switzerland. And there, they had the other business case. They needed to have web everything new. So we pitched for that, we won that, and then everything that you then see out in the outside world, all social media, all web, is coming from us. So these two companies were the lighthouse companies that got us off the ground from the beginning. So it proved the point that CFO consulting and CMO consulting could actually go hand in hand. And then that day happened, and that's today, 7 years ago. That's why we have the event today. Oh. So I had lunch with a friend of mine in Zurich at the Möwi wine bar, and I was very upset. And then when I'm upset, that's not very good. And then I start thinking, and why I was so upset, because for my PhD, for my research, I had to use a survey tool. And the university told me to use SurveyMonkey, and I looked at that, and if you use that, it's good, but it didn't do what I needed it to do. I ended up with Qualtrics. I paid license to Qualtrics because it did everything I need to do except statistics. For that, I needed other tools. But it wasn't user-friendly. These ancient technologies were never designed for the end user. They were designed for market research company to do actual market research, not for end users. But anyway, I used that one. Then we founded Capptoo. And then also for our customer projects. Sometimes, you're surely all super at that, but sometimes our customers are not the best ones in articulating what they really want. and yet they still want a very precise proposal from us and the deliverables based on something that is not finally agreed on, let's put it this way. So we keep using survey tools also to survey the requirements of our customers, to really understand what they really want and to be on the same page. So again, we looked at Medallia and Qualtrics and we used them all, but we had no good solution on the play. It was just nothing there. We looked at 20 different solutions. And then we said, okay, we have the best developers that one can wish for in a company. We have the best designers in the company. And Roman, the head of design, he's somewhere here, over there, creating slides for his presentation. There he's waving. So we have the best, really have the best designers in the world. So then we say, okay, let's build the platform ourselves. Let's conquer the market. Let's build something that the world has never seen. And then the briefing to our dev team and design team was very simple. I want the best platform in the world, and it has to be the sexiest platform in the world. If it's not sexy, people don't use it. It's very simple. And then, so we did that. And then we developed for 3 years, basically, before we went to market. But that was when the idea was born. And then on 26th March of 2019, 9 months later, we launched the platform. It was in Zimmerleuten in Zurich. A few of you have been there already. And then there was this woman there from Glacier Express, Annemarie Meyer. She's the CEO of Glacier Express. And Glacier Express is also here somewhere. And she trusted us that she needed something like this, and she trusted what she saw was good. And then she became our actually first large brand using Screver. But besides that, we never marketed it. We spent 150,000 hours to develop the platform first before we took it to market. But anyway, that was the birth of it. And then the year later, now I have to guess to hurry up a bit, it was another huge milestone. We got approached by a pharma company to create a patient doctor portal. And we said, okay, we looked at it and we had 0 pharma experience. And then you don't win that project because in pharma it's a very highly regulated environment and you have to have a very good track record, and we didn't have all of that. But they were smart marketeers and they wanted to have a company with fresh eyes, looks from a different angle to the problem. And then we over-delivered in the project. We invested 3 or 4 times much more hours than we got paid for, and that was completely fine. We always do that. We always invest in something new, figure out if it works or not, and then we make a business out of it if it works. So that was entry to pharma, and since then, that high-quality project delivery led to the next project, it led to the next business unit, or what's called the pharma therapeutic areas. It led to the next pharma company. It led to the next country. Now we're working for more than 20 pharmaceutical companies, and as of Wednesday morning, we delivered more than 500 projects in pharma. So, thank you. Yes, that was a stupid idea. But it wasn't because I was already in the middle of my PhD when I decided to go solo. And then I could either stop or give up with my PhD and focus on the company. Now, I'm not very good in stopping, and I'm not very good in giving up. So I thought, okay, I pulled through, and that cost me a lot of evenings. I didn't have holidays for years, didn't have weekends for years. And but it was good that I finished it, because today obviously, since Capptoo is all about the experience, and optimizing experiences, and we always have to do a lot of research in understanding what the experience is and how we can optimize it. So my research actually, my background comes into play very well here. And then everybody knows this, COVID hit, and then I was going to Vietnam on a business trip. We had a customer there and employees, and I arrived in Vietnam, everything was fine. I left a week later, everyone was wearing a mask. And I know that everybody has the same experiences from back then. But for me, for my company, it meant, okay, we're going to most likely not survive this, because everything was on hold. Companies, you all didn't know what you're going to do now. Do we stop the projects? Do we cut costs? Do we lay off people? But the good thing for us was, because back then we were around 50 people working in 10 different countries, we were already Zooming the whole day long. So for us, it wasn't new to go digital, but for the customer it was new. They took a few months to upskill themselves, and then they were online. And that became then a blessing in disguise for us, because everybody had to, from one day to the other, go even more digital very fast. So that was probably the, next to the pharma part, the area, that incident, the black swan, that helped us the most to grow. And then, yeah, that's also part of our story. 10 days, there was the 14th of February 2022. No, that's a number missing. No, that's okay, 2022. Where that was 10 days before the war, and we had very strong evidence that with a Ukrainian team of 25 back then in Ukraine, we had very strong evidence that the war would come. They will start. For multiple reasons, we knew that. So the management team got together in Zurich, and we said, okay, who has a mattress? Who has a room that we don't use? You know, do we have family with a house, with an apartment that we can use? So that day we got together around 30 rooms, 30 mattresses. Then I wrote an email to all our team members in Ukraine, and we told them that the war will start. We're very convinced, and of course you're reluctant, family and pets and everything, to come out. But we asked everybody to come out. We told them we're gonna carry the cost. We will have apartments. We will do everything possible. And two came. Only two came. They then stayed with Tanya in an apartment in Überlingen. And then 10 days later, the war started. And then we switched from Slack channels to Telegram, and our companies didn't work anymore. We could not deliver the project because they were at war. Our team members they were all in the bunkers. And then again, we didn't know how the customer would perceive this, because you have a certain understanding for some time, but how long does that last? But they were very understanding, extremely understanding, and then the war started. And we decided we tried to help everybody to get out, especially the women if possible, and the children. And we said, okay, or I said that all the singles, meaning no children, they should go to Zagreb, because there we have the biggest corporation, to go to Zagreb. And the families I wanted to have here in Switzerland. I said, okay, if the war continues, I want the kids to have a Swiss schooling. So then we organized apartments in Zagreb and a few apartments in Winterthur. And then they arrived, and then the same week when they arrived in Switzerland, the kids went to school. And that's now 2.5 years ago. So I asked Roman this morning, his twins, they speak perfect Swiss German, huh? They speak perfect German. They start now speaking French, and they run circles around the parents because they don't understand them anymore. So anyway, very tragic story, but there was another incident that almost killed our company. Yeah, so out of that, of course, we went through so much stuff, up and down all the time, and I guess we inherited a very strong work culture. I would say, fair to say that our team members, they love to work with us, and we don't see each other in hierarchies. We just are team members, and everybody helps everybody all the time. And we don't worry about when people go on holidays, and they don't need to tell me that they're going, they need to inform me that they're going on holidays or us, but they don't need to tell us you're going away for 1 week or 2 weeks. Just enjoy your time, make sure everything works while you're away. Or we don't worry when they work morning, night times, if they go to the office or not. We don't have an expense policy because we know that everybody does the right thing. Our expense policy, I explained it this morning quickly, is actually very simple. It's all automated in our company. You have a receipt, you take a picture with WhatsApp and press the button, and that's it. Automatically, everything is booked. So all these little things and some big things, they foster a very strong work culture. And I said it on Wednesday morning, and I'm sure I was the inventor of workation, because back then, when COVID hit, we needed to meet somewhere in order to exchange ideas, and sometimes Zoom is not good enough, as you know. So we looked at places, cities, countries where we could go. And then we went the first time, we did that, we went to Istanbul, to Turkey. 10 or 15 of us, we all went to Istanbul. The company paid the hotel and the flights, and then we workshopped the whole week. In the evenings, we always have fun. Always go out, have good dinners and talk. And then, obviously, that built a very good culture, and then we continued to do this. And I know you're going to be very jealous now when I tell you this, but since then, we were in Amsterdam, we were in Austria, we were in New York, we were in Mauritius for up to 5 weeks, some of us, And that sounds all easy, but we work extremely hard. We we sit around in the hotel rooms, in the lobbies. Everybody works and has phone calls and Zoom calls, and then we order coffees for each other. But in the evening, we have fun, you know. So, and this was a trip. I invited the management and others to experience one of our customers. I said, okay, we have Glacier Express, our customers. I want you to feel what it feels like in order to understand the project and the value of that brand. So I organized 7 days in Switzerland. We went 3 days to the Muttertal, in a Husky Lodge in a valley, and we workshop there. Then I took the team to Zermatt for the one night. We took the Glacier Express to St. Moritz, workshop there again, and back to Zurich. So anyway, I'm sure I was the inventor of workation, but I should have patented it. So in the last 7-8 years, we went from FMCG to insurance to tourism to pharma, which became our strongest industry, but also to utility. We hear a bit more about this in the afternoon, and even to government. You know, so we are kind of in all possible industry today, and I'm not going into details, but what sets us apart, and I know you still don't really understand what we're doing in detail, but I will at the end of the day. But what sets us apart is we're very good in thinking. We're very good in analyzing challenges a company has. And I'll give you quickly one example. And we look at challenges in the example of Amplifon, hearing aid company producing hearing aids. We looked at their sales funnel. They said they have issues. We looked at the sales funnel. We found out that within the sales funnel, when you look for a hearing aid, you Google around, you land on the landing page, you type in your email address, and then at that moment, when you press the button, you fall into that sales funnel. So, and we say, okay, and then we analyze the steps in the sales funnel, and in the middle of the sales funnel, you end up with a in a hearing aid shop of theirs, somewhere in Zurich, and you have someone testing your hearing. And if you do have an issue, you walk out with a test hearing aid for a few days. And then we realized that at that moment when they walk out, they're losing 50% of their business. And why? Because they start now to take that very serious, and they go shop around, because it's an expensive thing to do. Then they shop around. So what we then did, we set up multiple feedback surveys in there, and we send now out a survey to the person with the hearing aid, saying a few hours or a day later, saying, how was the service in the shop? Did you feel comfortable? Did you feel looked after? How is the comfort of it, you know? And what's the perceived value for money for you? With asking a few questions, we find out if there is an issue or not. You know, and then the sales rep can call them up and make them a better offer, call them in, and so, or if it's uncomfortable. So, and the hypothesis back then was, with the CFO and us, if we can decrease the number of people the business is losing from 50 to 49%, so we only win 1% more, that's a $2-digit million more on the EBITDA. So this is what we do. Yes, we have a super agency, we have the best design, we have really good designers, we have really good devs, we have super software, but the thinking part, I think that's what sets us apart from many others. And then we have Kiwano. I just saw Gordana coming in before. So we bought a beauty salon. And because I thought, or we all thought in the management, okay, we always talk about the digital experience, how to analyze this, how to optimize this, you know, but do we really know? Yeah? Do we really know? So, okay, how can we find out? We want to break into an industry that is as good as quality, with the same quality aspects as we have. So we bought a beauty salon in Zurich, in the Niederdorf, Untere Zäune 5. We bought that one. We all went in there and renovated that thing, you know. And that was fun, you know, to renovate a beauty salon, to build something from scratch, you know. And and then we started 1.5 years ago with a beauty experience like no one else. We wanted to, what we know from digital, how to improve there, we wanted to set an example in there. So you all get either digitally or from one of us today a voucher of 50% with a glass of Grower champagne. And you can go to Kiwano, you can go to Gordana today here and get a haircut or eyebrows or makeup. And you see then the experience we deliver at Kiwano. That's outstanding. And of course, you need to have the best expert in the world to do this, and that's Gordana. She's extremely good in what she's doing. So now that's why I said at the beginning, Kiwano's applied customer experience. And of course, we also use Kiwano to work for us. We have our office in there, in the background, and so there's multiple reasons. And also the customer that sits on that chair is also our customer with all the other companies we have. So we cross-market ourselves a bit. Right, and one more slide, and one more thing I'm very, very proud of, our latest milestone. About 3 weeks ago, a company who's here today, they wanted to sign a contract with one of our competitors. They ran a very broad evaluation for a feedback management platform and the concept behind it and the team behind it. And they were just going to sign it. And then that woman, she's called Julia, she thought, oh, no, hang on. There was someone I met 2 years ago. She met Tanya, and no one forgets Tanya. She did in the evaluation phase, but then she remembered her, and then they called us up, and then we met. We had one phone call, we met there, we had one meeting with them, with the CEO and the team, and it's a big thing, it's not just a small thing. And then a week later, they signed the contract, and then Axel and his team, they delivered the project, the first project, in less than 2 days, where other ones would probably use months and years. And that's the Jungfrau region. And we are very, very proud of that, because it's a super brand, and everybody knows them, everybody loves to go up there, and they're taking it extremely serious. They always did. They live and breathe customer feedback, guest feedback. They need to know from the guest how they're doing, and to improve their business going forward, to be even better than they are today. So we are very extremely proud of that. So with that, I hope you a little bit understand what we're doing. If not, that's fine. Then let us know later on. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please contact me later.